about game number 1. We are ready for game 2. Let's get into the draft. It is Cursed Hollow. Game number 2. Sonya banned out this time. Seems like they actually want to take Garrosh away. That seems like a pretty good idea right now.
I'm still trying to figure out why exactly the first ban Brightwing was a... How did they think that was a good idea to approach the draft?
Maybe they were just way to consider about the polymorph possibly just be countering when they engage in like Sonya or even Genji when he was about to press that R button. If you're polymorph, of course, you may just die, but it seemed like the taunts from the other side was enough without the Brightwing.
Overall, I feel that it just came out so out of left field, and obviously Brightwing is a very good pick on the map and in this meta in general right now, but somewhat surprising. I don't know. RR should definitely have done a better job in the draft, especially considering that they're the HGC team with a drafter with over 2 years of professional heroes experience.
Okay. They were considering their own Brightwing and this big global. Okay, they want to pick up some global. I was trying to expect something like a Garrosh steal away or even Morales steal away. But they are really focusing on Brightwing tonight, as we had our very first ban in game number 1 on Brightwing, and even a pickup here.
And I think I can give more respect to RR after seeing this first pick Brightwing, because I'm not too sold on it right now. And we will have to see what happens in game. But overall, it seems that RR actually have been approaching this draft, all drafts, with a clear idea of their preferred meta in mind. So hopefully the Brightwing will do great things, and I actually think that considering the fact that EZZ was playing the secondary support, she was playing the Stukov, right?
Yes.
And she always had a really good mind for the macro side of the game. So I really hope that it will be EZZ who will be playing this Brightwing and, you know, soaking up that experience from across the map.
Let's see how well winners will actually deal with against the global hero on the other side. Picked up Morales and Tyrael. Tyrael this time, of course, showed a lot of appearance during the Open Division playoffs. Actually became the winning factor for ReZero, who will be playing tomorrow. Morales still kept the same. Genji and Uther this time, which is a much better pair-up, I would say.
I'm pretty happy with how RR is approaching this draft right now, I feel. And Tyrael, as you said, a pretty standard pickup across Open Division teams in general, and also considering that Cursed Hollow is a map. Oh, the map is Cursed Hollow, obviously, for those of you who can't read Korean. And this is a map with 2 bosses, and Brightwing offers a hell lot of boss control.
That's
so
right.
Taking Tyrael makes a bit of sense. Would also like to see something like a Faustad or a Dehaka coming out here to counteract the Brightwing, but winners, I'm not entirely sure, because I feel that most Open Division teams try to approach games with a let's just hope that we're better in 5v5's mentality, and winners, I think, proved themselves to be that last game, so they might just continue to go that route.
Well, let's see. Here, Anubarak, I think that's just the feedback from game number 1. Anubarak Cocoon was way too hard to deal with. Actually pretty well dealt with though, but this time without the Garrosh, maybe it's not going to be the same, so that's just panning out for Morales to actually just keep the positioning well. Tassadar also banned from RR. It seems like winners is going for that double support hyper carry once more. So let's just have a safe approach here. Ban Tassadar.
I could definitely see Garrosh being picked up again. I mean, this time around, RR definitely has the cleanse, so it won't be the same. But overall, Gemi's individual proficiency on that hero was so impressive that I would not complain at all to see him pick it up again.
So they are thinking pretty hard at the moment. Already Morales, very likely we'll see double supports, but there are a lot. Already picked up 2. Zarya, they are going hyper carry Vala. We saw this hyper carry Vala so many times in Open Division's Korea.
It is definitely one of the compositions thought up to be the strongest, and using Zarya in place of Tassadar or Ariel not a bad idea overall, I would say, especially considering the intricate layout of a large swath of this map. A lot of places in which a good ultimate could rip the team into two.
Oh, even Marthel not actually all the way in hypercarry Vala, double support Zarya, along with a sanctification. They have another source of damage. This is a little bit different, but Garrosh and Pink Dehaka picked up.
Speaking of the Pink Dehaka, I'm pretty happy that R went for the double global this time around. They definitely understand that the 5v5 strategy, it's probably not going to work as well.
So let's see, they are ready to jump into game number 2. We're against 2 globals here. Let's get into the Nexus. Oh, you know, we all know who's on which hero. So let's talk about globals, how it's going to affect this game already. As basically winners, when they have lack of, I guess, lack of experience against this kind of macro, because it's not really common to have lots of globals onto the other side. I don't think there has been any games in Open Division Korea to have this many globals to control over the map. So this will be a new experience for them, actually.
Definitely a good situation for RRR, petting winners against something that they have much less experience against. So pretty happy about that. Pretty interesting to see, though. EZZ is on the Uther, right? So not something that we necessarily expected, particularly considering the fact that, you know, Decalook has been the main Uther player in many of their matches in Phase 2. So interesting to see why that came about, but hopefully RR will have made the right decision on this one.
Let's see, they already have the Haka down there, and Marthel will be having okay experience against the Haka. His laning experience is important. Of course, the Haka will be getting harassed so much.
I'm actually really confused by this rotational response to Winner's 3-man. Usually, what you do when you see this kind of 3-man push is actually just go for the exchange. And not only because that's the standard thing to do regardless of composition, but if you think about it, it's Gala, Zarya, Morales, and considering the fact that you have 2 globals.
Yeah, 2 globals, plus the wave clear was insane for RRR also. And maybe they just wanted to get this dealt with, because to not lose the fort, they want the control over the map from the beginning. Here comes the right wing, and the poly does connect onto Zarya, though. There's the shield available and so much sustain healing. So even with using the globals, I don't think they could have got too much, because one thing from the beginning that I'm pretty sure everyone knows, they lack damage.
Very true. And you know, there are a lot of ways to think about how to respond to map pressure in the lane that your Siege Giants get to walk down. And, you know, a lot of ways that different teams deal with this. Some teams think that it's a better idea to sort of put maximum resources into the lane that has your Siege Giants. Other teams think the exact opposite and think that it's better to devote the resources to the other ones, because the lane with your Siege Giants will be automatically pushed occasionally anyway. So RR seems to be in that first group.
First tribute coming out on top middle. They're just baiting, of course, leaving them in the top lane. Will basically push all the way. Vala, Zarya, and the medic will just push all the way, and they will never have to hearth back home because they have shield, the heals come in. But at the speed, it wasn't too bad, as you mentioned, if RR committed 4-man down there.
Overall, the quiet standoff, winners deciding to not force the issue, but instead sort of prolong the 3-1-1 lane assignments. And unless one team decides to suddenly commit a lot of resources, this will most likely stay the same. So a bit of a snooze fest to be expected, I think, in the following seconds.
And I do believe we are in the balanced patch, so 2.25 to 2% Martheo nerfs are in the game right now. So it's not going to be as effective, I would say, but still a considerable amount of nerf coming in here.
The window of opportunity for winners as they hit level 7. Tyrael recognizes that and moves up to the top side. But, you know, this is the beauty of having double globals, right? Even with a level 7 advantage, even with Tyrael moving up onto the top side, there is so little that winners can do to secure this tribute. And RR also at level 7 at this point. We might see this tribute last for a really long time.
Forever, possibly. Here comes Brightwing to make the change, but Tyrael comes just in time. All damage deflected, but Odug's the one taking the most damage here.
That dash from Genji was absolutely terrible. We have to call it as it is. The one that where he went straight into the outer walls of the fort, that was completely unnecessary. No one was low enough for a kill. That was just a straight up throw.
It was, I would say, a panic E button there.
But he panicked D4, right? Like, who panics D4? Maybe like a finger mash, but anyway, not too much of a problem had RRR been playing any other kind of composition, but they played a double global composition that banks heavily on staying ahead in experience. And now look, because of that one bad E, they lost a tribute, and they're also more than a level down.
And this is also not the way they should be. They're not using their theme too correctly here. They can just give up the tribute, try to have some camp timings instead, and try. That's the way. That's a good way of controlling the macro on this map. They're trying to get some kills, but the sustained healing coming out from Morales actually grabbed and dragged. Nice focusing. Is that going to be? See, lack of concentration, lack of focusing now. Again, should be easy and very clear. Focus Morales. Focus Morales.
Yeah.
Either way.
Usually that's a meme, but in this situation, had the entire team correctly turned on Morales, as you said, the Morales would be dead. But for over a half a second in which the Dehaka was dragging the Morales, a lot of members of RR were hitting other targets, and there simply wasn't enough damage for Genji to finish off the Morales on his own. Very confusing decisions coming out from RR. A shocking lack of coordination when it comes to execution of these comps. And I don't know, it's not looking good for RR at all. Winners might be looking at an easy 2-0 here, considering that they're going to have a Bosch pushing. They're 2 up in tribute. There's no one on RR that can solo a mercenary camp.
Crazy rotational work. Winners going for that boss, and they can push for the fort right after. They will be going down because I believe the third tribute will be spawning left bottom. So they can actually invade the boss because RR does not have as many controlling. The RR winners has Sanctification, they have the Expulsion Zone, they have so much ways to control the boss zone. That's exactly the rotation is going to be. They can just invade. RR still does not even have 10. Barely just got 10 right now.
And what's more, the decision to rotate as 3 towards the Malthael with that combination of heroes was even more baffling than the decisions that they made before. They had absolutely no business going into there, but this engage is reasonable.
Nice Sanctification. Actually, Dragonblade did not do too much. The taunt actually killing himself there with the auto attacks. And Genji did not do anything. That great Sanctification. Now that's not going to be the only kill. Brightwing also got picked off. And Rush is just going in. HGC will also be going down. And this third tribute, this boss is already on. The keep still pushing, just went down. And that's not going to be the only boss going. Another boss. This is perfect timing.
One has to wonder, what was the point of the double global composition when your Dehaka is just walking down to the team fight like that and then just decides to turn back and soak up the mid lane while the fight is going on? Remember, RR was the one who pulled the trigger that used Emerald Wind to kick things off. Genji dashed in, and we believe that it was looking to be a good engage simply because it was the right time for RR to make a move. But apparently, they didn't communicate properly with Dehaka, or either Dehaka didn't have Brush Stalker up, because that was a 4v5.
Well, let's see. That was just insane, and this boss push will just be a keep in 8-9 minutes into the game.
I think this could be core. We
Plus,
have seen so many games.
They lost Genji there. May have been core, but Brightwing Dehaka is just trying to do what they can. Maybe they just have to come back home and try to defend this one because they're going for the core right now to end this game number 2. There's a taunt. Odak taking so much damage. Has to be Divine Shielded. Kong now cannot be Divine Shielded when the Dragon Blade is up in 4 seconds.
They have Sanctification up. This is going to be core if they don't make a huge mistake.
See Zarya just
really good Sanctification.
Get Garrosh. I don't think that's going to be the only kill. Emerald win way too late. Boss is already working on the core. 3v5. Make that a 2v5 now. And seems like we have second game going to the challenger here.
Unbelievable dominance coming out from winners. And
9-minute game.
this is exactly like, when you think about it, the 2016 Summer Super League Finals between MVP Black and Tempest. I think I'm getting chills here thinking about that because this has panned out in the exact same way, right? RR was supposed to win 4-0 or something like that. They were supposed to be the superior team. But instead, it's looking like to be a stomp developing on the side of the challengers, and they are pulling it off through better mechanical execution and going for those 5v5s, which is exactly the Tempest style. And if you think about the maps there was definitely a Cursed Hollow game in which ended super fast, I think in exactly 9 minutes, right? With the boss pushing, with the tributes, with the Sanctification. So, real chills here.
Also worked perfectly for the rotation, where winners had to deal with the rotation if it wasn't going to their favor from the beginning. The middle tribute on top, and there was a white one, so the third one had to be on the left bottom, which is right next to the boss. And RR, knowing that they had to open a team fight there, because if they lost that, they would have lost everything anyhow. So they opened it up, but great, perfect execution from the very beginning. If you neglect all their Dragon Blade damage, that's basically 90% of their damage. Well placed.
And you have to think about why RR is putting so much focus onto using Kong on Genji as the solo DPS. We have to be honest here, Kong has never been a particularly good Genji to begin with, nor has that kind of style worked for any other team save perhaps MVP Black and L5, which have probably the two of the 4 or 3 most best Genji players in the world, simply because I respect the players on Fnatic. So, yes. I don't know here. Like, RR have definitely come here tonight with a plan. They really highly prioritize Genji. They really highly prioritize right wing. But it seems like their read on the metagame is completely off.
Yes, seems like what you're good at, what you used to play, what you won the games with seems to be working for winners. Maybe RR needs to go back there, a step back, and try to play what they have been doing well with. Brightwing was not the best card for them back in HGC. Maybe having their own hyper carry, bringing their favorite Greymane, some even Zarya, some Falstad to control over the global. Brightwing, Dehaka was not the perfect choice. It seems like they're focusing way too much on Brightwing for today, but after game 2, it is 2-0 winners leading the series. We will take a short commercial break, guys. We will be back with game 3 very soon.